Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Bunked. For those of you wondering what this is, it's a show where I'll be discussing the truths behind popular beliefs. I'll mostly deal with myths that affect people's day-to-day lives and worries people have based on half-truths or out-and-out lies. Now, this first issue of Bunked deals with something that has so many people worried that the government had to say something. Plus, it's just fun. Zombies. People have been obsessed with zombies since Night of the Living Dead brought this ancient belief to their attention in 1968. There are people who believe that the zombie apocalypse is inevitable. Some people believe it's already begun. Well, let's start with the basics. Do zombies exist in nature? Yes! I'll give you 3 examples, but there are more out there. Bear with me though, I'll probably mispronounce all of their names. The first example is a bacteria known as Euhoplorchus californiensis. This bacteria in adult form lives in the stomachs of shorebirds. When the bacteria lay its egg, they mix into the droppings of the birds. When the birds poop in the water, the feces is eaten by a horn snail. The bacteria hatch and grow in the snail. The larvae eventually exit the horn snail, swim to a killifish, then penetrate into the fish. The larvae swim up the bloodstream to the fish's brain and force it to swim into open water, where it thrashes wildly and becomes 10 to 30 times more likely to be eaten by a shorebird, where the cycle starts all over. My second example are the Glyptopentellus wasps. These wasps will lay up to 80 eggs inside of a caterpillar. The caterpillar continues to live and grow as the wasp eggs hatch and the larvae begin to grow. As you can see in this video of an uninfected caterpillar, the caterpillar doesn't respond to a beetle crawling across it. Eventually, the wasp larvae bust out of the caterpillar, where they attach themselves to a nearby branch and cocoon up. The caterpillar isn't finished with its duties to the wasps just yet. It then loses all desire to eat and move. It stays near the cocoons to watch over and protect them, as you can see when a beetle gets near the cocoon of an infected caterpillar. My last example is a fungus, Ophiocordyceps. This lives in the jungles of Thailand. It attaches itself to the carpenter ants and makes its way into the nervous system, causing the ant to abandon its duties. The carpenter ant climbs up the side of a tree to the underside of a leaf, or wherever the fungus finds growth to be most suitable. Then the ant buries its pincers into the leaf and hangs on tightly as it waits for the fungus to consume the rest of its body. There are also cordyceps that infest species other than ants. There is some crazy stuff in nature. Or to quote Family Guy, "Damn, nature, you scary!" But how does that affect humans? Now I'll discuss the evidence circling the internet that proves the zombie apocalypse is here. In Miami, a man strips naked and eats the face of a homeless man. A police officer pulls up to the scene and instructs the zombie to cease. The zombie looks up at the cop, growls, and continues to eat the homeless man's face. The officer is forced to shoot, killing the man. There were no drugs found on the zombie or in his clothes that were found nearby. In New Jersey, a man stabs himself in the stomach 50 times. When police arrive, he begins to throw his intestines and skin at the officers. A woman in San Antonio, Texas was found after killing her 3-week-old child. She ate the brains of the child and some of the toes. Wow. There is nothing pleasant about this story. I mean, there isn't with any of these, but this one is really... wow. In Louisiana, a man bites off a chunk of another man's face. Lastly, the CDC had sent hazmat teams to investigate a strange illness that has caused students and teachers to be evacuated and sent to hospitals. That is a lot of evidence. I think it's time to load up. Or, if a loved one gets infected, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson and Mark Kalansky on Star Talk, all you need to cure them is some salt. I think a trip to Costco might be necessary. But is the zombie apocalypse upon us? No. The truth is, these attacks aren't related at all. The man in Miami, although he had no drugs on him at the time, had a drug known as bath salts in his system. Bath salts is known to make people violent. And if you watch police videos of people on bath salts, for some reason, they tend to be wearing less clothes than normal. But then again, anytime I watch cops, that tends to be the case. The man in New Jersey who stabbed himself in the stomach 50 times has a history of psychiatric problems. He was, sadly, a man who was simply insane and was released from a hospital before he was fully rehabilitated. The student in Maryland had admitted to killing his roommate, although, in this case, I couldn't find a reason why he decided to kill and eat his roommate. The woman in San Antonio who killed her 3-week-old daughter, again, wow, did so because she believed that Satan told her to. This woman clearly had mental problems, and of all the attacks, this is the most heartbreaking. Finally, we are brought to the hazmat team. What brought them to school and caused teachers and students to be taken to a hospital? A rash. A simple rash that was brought on by a white marked tussock moth caterpillar, which can be known to carry staph infection. Luckily, none of the children had a serious illness or a virus that reanimates the dead. Which brings me to my next point. Zombies are the undead, people who have been reanimated. In some myths, the dead rise from their graves and eat the brains of the living. In modern tales, like The Walking Dead, a virus kills people and brings them back to life and forces the host to eat human flesh and spread itself. These attacks are not zombies, just like people who go to clubs and drink each other's blood are not vampires. These zombies are cannibals. Vampires and zombies are both undead creatures. They're scary, and we tend to romanticize these stories. The truth is, if zombies were real, it would be a scary, horrible situation. We love playing games where we play the hero running around blowing off their heads. The truth of the matter is, if a zombie outbreak happened, chances are you and I wouldn't be one of the survivors. In fact, the chances of you being a survivor are at least a few million to one. You would be nearly guaranteed to be one of the millions, if not billions, turned into zombies. But we don't have to worry about it. Because David Daigle, a spokesman for the CDC, released a statement saying, "There is not a virus or condition that reanimates the dead or presents zombie-like symptoms that we know of."
Lies, 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 yeah!
They're gonna get you!
Lies, 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 yeah! Lies, 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 yeah!
Is there an internet meme or something else that's been bothering you want to know more about? Well, send your questions to askbunked@gmail.com and I'll research it for you.